right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us in our November edition of Pitch Perfect here. Super excited to have a great panel of speakers today. So kicking things off, the presentation today may contain forward-looking information. So there can be no assurance that forward-looking information will prove to be accurate, as actual results and future events could differ materially from those anticipated in such statements. Accordingly, viewers should not place undue reliance on forward-looking information. With that in mind, I would like to turn things over to Stephen and Karbon Brewing. Karbon is an Ontario-based brewery with a delicious product line on a mission to become Canada's first carbon negative beer. So Stephen, we'll have you take it away.
So let me just 1 second. So yeah, my name is Stephen Tyson. I'm the founder and CEO of Karbon Brewing. We are a beer and beverage company based out of Toronto, Ontario, with the focus on the environmental impact of brewing and trying to get to carbon negative beer. So basically, our story started pretty simply. If you want to make a change, you should probably start with a beer. You know, it's one of the best ways to have conversations with your friends. There's a lot going on in the world, including climate change. So our backgrounds are all in food and beverage and brewing, and we started to see that there's a massive gap in research and development, innovation, and kind of the environmental impact of brewing, you know, on a scalable level. A lot of people were focused on their own impact, which is great, but we wanted to find solutions that were able to be scaled and kind of bring those to the industry. So basically, we started in the last 1.5 to 2 years during the pandemic, which is a fun time to start a business. But why this? The brewing industry is impacting the planet. Globally, beer production adds the same amount of CO2 as 6.2 million cars on the road each year. Uses the same amount of electricity as 156 million US homes every year, and costs the industry $78 billion in utility bills. It's projected that it will need $100 billion worth of carbon credits by the year 2050 just to offset these emissions. So there's a need for beer producers to become carbon neutral or carbon negative and have zero impact. Our business model is pretty simple. You know, we started to look into the inputs and outputs of beer. Traditionally, there's 5 inputs that go in. So hops, barley, water, yeast, and energy. And one product is produced, which is beer. You know, there's all this waste that's created, you know, whether it's spent grains, water, proteins, all these things, you know, that are just generally sent to landfill, which creates carbon emissions. So we started to systematically look at the approach of, you know, eliminating this waste or turning it into a circular economy model, which actually allows us to increase the amount of revenue streams we have and look into things like fertilizer, algae, energy cogeneration, all of those things. We recently signed a partnership with Trent University in Peterborough to further this research and actually create course curriculums and potentially a facility that involves this technology. But we have to make good beer. So our promise is, you know, can you drink a beer and fight climate change? So our products go beyond simply kind of go green or eco-friendly. They're actually funding real research and innovation, you know, surrounding carbon emissions, waste, social, economic impact. So 100% of our ingredients are Canadian or Ontario ingredients to cut down emissions, support local economy, work with local farmers, and actually secure our supply chain. Each can contributes to tree planting, which next year will be verified through a blockchain system, which allows consumers to actually see the verified impact of their dollars. Our lager won Best New Beer in Canada last year, and our wheat just won an award at the Ontario Brewing Awards. You know, since 1.5 years of operation, we've achieved over $500,000 in revenue, 65% gross margin with over 250 accounts. We've been featured in articles across Canada, including Toronto Star, Global News, Cottage Life, Brewers Journal, and our thought leadership has allowed us to do multiple lectures, seminars, whether through universities or public forums, and actually create a new awards category this year in sustainability initiatives. So if you're looking for more information, we're raising right now on FrontFundr. Most of the dollars will go towards, you know, growing this mission, continuing the research, you know, continuing our sales platform and getting more of our messaging out there. So check out our website, check out our socials, or feel free to shoot me an email.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for the pitch there, Stephen. It's amazing what you guys are doing. We would like to open up the floor now to the Q&A. If anyone has any questions, please do throw them in the Q&A there, and we'll do our best to answer them as we go. I know one of the statistics that you shared was the fact that global beer production adds the same amount of CO2 as 6.2 million cars. Like, that's a pretty significant statistic that I've never heard. So why do you think no one seems to talk about this yet?
Yeah, it's one of the great questions. People ask what's in their food, or where was it grown, or what's on their plate. but then they'll just drink a Budweiser, and it just doesn't really make sense to me. I think, the beer production industry has been, controlled by a large corporations in the past. And so, there wasn't really a need to look into the environmental impact of brewing, at least at a scalable, size. And now that we're aware of more of climate change and things that are going on in the world, I think people are starting to look into, facts and statistics like that.
For sure, which is really important. And I know you highlighted the fact as well that you've got a partnership ongoing with Trent University. So maybe you can touch a little bit more on kind of what that means for your R&D.
Yeah, so we're actually the first beer company to have an official partnership with a research facility in mind in North America, and if not the world. There's only a couple of breweries that work with universities, and the idea is that we can use their resources, use their laboratory and their equipment, their students, their PhD, their professors, to really start to systematically find the solutions at a really scalable size. That includes, again, teaching courses or creating a course curriculum where other people can learn this. Because again, one of our mandates is that we don't want to just find the solutions and keep them to ourselves. We want to share this technology and these solutions with everybody. And therefore, kind of building a facility would be the next step, which integrates kind of the ideas and the research that we're doing. And so they have land at the back of their campus that, we potentially could be building on in the future.
That's fantastic. I know one of the things that kind of caught my attention when looking through your campaign page is just the background of the founders and the fact that you guys are going after a distribution strategy for bars and restaurants because of that. So we actually had a question come through from an attendee asking a little bit more about, one, what is your background? And two, when do you see your beer going nationwide?
Yeah, so my background is in kind of the food and beverage space. From a high level operations perspective, running restaurants and bars most of my life, and then kind of moving into sustainable business models. That's what I went to school for as well. So kind of combining all these resources, we hired a guy who knew how to make really good beer. We found a guy who knew how to sell really good beer, and we kind of combined all of our backgrounds together to kind of make a little super team. As far as like our distribution strategy, obviously we have a lot of connections in the food and beverage industry and in bars and restaurants, specifically in GTA and Toronto area. So we're able to leverage those and say, hey, we're your friends, we're selling beer, it's great, it helps the world, can you start putting it on tap? So it's been great for us. And as far as going nationwide, our business model should be scalable and will be scalable. It's just a matter of raising the right amount of capital, and getting to that area, and then working with other breweries. I know that Persephone's on the panel here. We've had conversations with them as well about, how do we share this resource and kind of, help each other grow. So
that's amazing. We had another question come through or comment highlighting the fact that your website looks great, which I agree with. Your presentation looked great too. And they're wondering if you can talk a little bit about your digital initiatives and how you engage with visitors on your site.
Yeah, so I built the website myself. So thank you, everyone. But basically, the idea of being able to reach and share information with people, I think, is really important to us. So we recently got more into the digital side of things, including, like I mentioned before, getting a blockchain solution to be able to kind of integrate the technology and the digital with the real world of brewing beer. So yeah, we're looking to grow that, looking to grow more, email marketing strategies and things like that in the future, and create portals. There's a way that we can create a portal for our B2B clients as well, which tracks their individual impact. So all of that kind of stuff is something that we're hoping to grow, with more dollars and more capital in.
That's fantastic. We had a question come through from Richard as well. Two questions, actually. One, are you working with the Clean Tech Commons team at Trent? And then two, is there a national certification for green food and beverage production?
Yeah, so we are working with the Clean Tech Commons space. That's the area on the back of Trent campus, which we kind of talked about to potentially build a facility out there and apply all the research there. It's a great project. You should look into it. They're trying to attract a lot of clean technology companies there. And as far as I know, there's not a good enough certification, I think, is the best way to say that. There's a lot of certifications out there for, B Corp certification or carbon neutral certifications and things like that. But, one of the goals of our company is actually to start to establish some of those certifications and, what a benchmark of a carbon neutral or carbon negative beer company specifically should be. So we're looking to work with the other breweries in our area and work with the other breweries across, the Canada to create this kind of like legislation and the change that needs to happen.
That's fantastic. We're coming up towards the end of the Q&A period, but we had another question come through from Florian that I'd like to get through quickly. So they're just asking, how much are you planning to raise and what happens if you don't reach your financial goal?
Yeah, so this is a smaller raise for us, just to increase and boost the sales and marketing side of what we're doing right now. So we're looking to raise around 440K, which gives us enough runway to just continue to grow and do all the things. We're profitable now. It took us a year and a half to get there, but we are actually making money now on every can that we sell. And so, the idea of raising this money is to kind of contribute to some of that research and grow the marketing and sales side of things. So if we don't make it, that's okay. We're selling lots of beer and we're funding ourselves anyway. And so this is kind of additional capital to be able to grow and scale faster because, climate change isn't going away. And so we want to be able to get there as fast as possible.
That's fantastic. I know we had another question come through that we probably won't have time to get to today, but just it's do you foresee any income from investing? So would recommend for any investors with questions on exit strategy to go visit the campaign page. You could reach out to the company, ask them any questions. Generally, we have 3 routes to an exit or return on investment, one of which being a go public event, merger, acquisition, or the company growing to the point where they offer dividends. So in many cases, you can find the preferred kind of exit method on the campaign page itself. And you can always reach out to the company to ask them any questions there. So for anyone with more questions for Karbon Brewing, do recommend you visit their campaign page at frontfundr.com/Karbon Brewing, and feel free to reach out with Stephen with any questions that you have. I think overall, great presentation today, Stephen. Thank you for getting through so many questions. And yeah, really appreciate you joining the session today. All right, just as we wrap things up for today, wanted to share just a couple slides on getting started from FrontFundr in case there's anyone new to the session today. So FrontFundr is Canada's leading equity crowdfunding platform. We make it easy for all Canadians to invest in Canada's most exciting startups and growth stage businesses, just as you've seen from the pitches today. And typically we say from as little as $250, but as I mentioned, Persephone is raising at $100. So these opportunities are very accessible to everyone across Canada. We've done now over 100 raises, raising over $120 million. And we've, got an investor community of over 34,000 now. In addition to that, to get started, would recommend just visiting the website, frontfundr.com. You can go have a look at each of the individual campaign pages there and hit invest to get started. And if you have any questions throughout the process at all, we've got an online chat with our investor relations team, or you can reach out to support@frontfundr.com with any questions. So thank you to everyone for tuning in today. Really appreciate your time. Thank you to all of our fantastic panelists from today. You delivered great pitches. So nice to see you guys even interacting as businesses yourself and how you could perhaps work together in the future. So always love to see that. Yeah, like we said, it's really about community capital is what equity crowdfunding really stands for. So it's great to see the ways that these companies have incorporated the community into their business models as well. So thank you all for your time. Thank you for those who have attended, and we'll be back with another Pitch Perfect session, hopefully within the next month or two. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.